Good evening, good evening. It is Woke Wednesday. I did not advertise because, to be honest with you guys, I wasn't sure if I was going to get around to this tonight with everything, packing and getting the dog, situated and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get to it, so let me not advertise it. Let me not make myself a liar. But just in case, I'll jump on if I can. So I'm here. It's Wednesday. It's Woke Wednesday. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be pretty quick today. So last night I came up with this talk. And so what I want to talk about today, if you saw the title, is full. So a lot of times in our pursuit of happiness, as people are trying to find things in their life that make them happy, a lot of times what they end up doing is finding themselves, hi Nathan, is finding themselves in really empty situations, whether those are empty relationships or empty conversations, empty thoughts. Taking part in empty activities, right? Empty desires that we have. And people who struggle with depression, emptiness is one of the core feelings that they describe when they're struggling with depression. And so we really want to focus on being full. So have any of you on today ever ate to the point where you're like so full, you're like, oh my God, I can't eat anymore. I can't even move, that kind of stuff. I want you to be full of all the stuff that's not empty, right? I want you to be full with your conversations and your connections with people and those types of things. So let's talk about those a little bit more. So in our connections with people, whether it's, a coworker, whether it's a relationship, like an intimate relationship or a friendship or anything like that, we want to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people who motivate us to do better and to be better. And we want to connect with people. We want to form the kinds of connections where we're really inspiring each other to become better versions of ourselves every single day in and day out. We want to do that. And so focusing on those types of connections instead of empty connections and feeling like, I remember when my daughter first got on social media, she was extremely obsessed, I'll say, probably less of a word, but obsessed with how many followers she had. And I was like, stop worrying about how many followers you have. It's about quality, right? And so that's what we want to focus on with the connections that we have. You want to surround yourself with people who believe in you and your vision. And guess what, guys? Sometimes the biggest person that we have an empty connection with is ourselves. Sometimes our connection with ourselves is surface level. We don't go deep. We don't allow ourselves to admit to ourselves what our vulnerabilities are and those types of things, what our real desires are, all of that kind of stuff. So here's the thing. We want to focus again on those full connections, right? Also, with the conversations that we have with people, sometimes we find ourselves in these empty conversations where maybe it's repetitive. It's the same thing every time. It never goes anywhere. It's just surface level stuff. I want the types of conversations where I'm talking to the other person and we're learning about what are your goals? What do you want to achieve out of life? What's your purpose? What's your vision for your life? I want to know more about people. What are your vulnerabilities? Right? How are you vulnerable? Let me know these types of things. Those are full conversations. Don't get distracted by empty conversations. And like I said, sometimes those empty conversations are the repetitive, just never goes anywhere. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, that's empty, right? If it never goes beyond that, that's empty. Don't get distracted by empty compliments. See, I've posted on my page several times, like I'm more than my looks. Right? There's so much more to me. There's my heart, there's my brain, there's my goals, my desires, my wishes. And sometimes people never find out anything more about that because all they see is my looks. And so don't get distracted by empty compliments because that'll just feed you like a false sense of self-esteem and it'll keep you distracted from what's actually important. Some people will get distracted by that. Right? We want to make sure also that our activities, what we do with our time, that we're full with that. So, I always want to take part in activities that, where I'm doing something, and not all the time. I do things to enjoy myself too, but I want to take part in activities that are going to expand my brain, expand my thoughts, expand my belief, expand my vision, right? I want to take part in activities that make my heart feel full. And sometimes we take part in activities, and again, I'm not knocking people. If you want to watch TV and you want to just watch something for fun, do it. But don't spend all of your time watching TV, only watching things that are for fun and never getting those things that are fulfilling, right? You want to make sure that the things that you read, again, yes, there's nothing wrong with reading a book. My friend Anthony Knight, I've read his books. They're just for fun, purely for fun, right? But I also spend a good amount of my time when I'm reading books that are expanding me. Right? So those activities, and you know, what we read and watch and listen to, that's very important, because all of that goes much further than in that moment when we're actually reading, watching it, listening to it. It carries over into the thoughts that we have. And so those empty thoughts, a lot of times our thoughts in our own mind are empty, in the sense of they're based on guilt or fear or anxiety or stress. Yes, you have to, sometimes throughout the day, you might catch yourself thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Or I've got so much to do this weekend. But if you flip that around, right, and you start thinking of the positive things, like, okay, so this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to hand down, those types of things. Then it's all of it goes hand in hand, right? Because the better your thoughts get, the more full your thoughts get, the more likely you are to then participate in activities that make you feel full too, right? The more likely you are to have conversations where you feel full. I was talking with my friend Heather about this, because I really appreciate our friendship, because we oftentimes on the phone, we're talking about, this is what I want for my future. This is what I see. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what I listened to today. And it's inspiring. So my conversations and my connection with her, right, are based on that fullness. They're not empty. Now, one of the things I want to say is this negative self-talk. Most of us have it, right? I know very few people who don't have it. So it's really important to really try to figure out how to get that out of the way. Empty desires. Let's talk about this one a little bit. So your empty goals. If your goals are only focused around materialistic things, so if your goal is like, I want a Mercedes and a mansion, that's kind of an empty goal. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting material things, but really your goal should be focused on what's your vision and what's your purpose. I learned from one of my previous coworkers, the pop. What's your purpose on the planet? What's your pop, right? And so we should all have that. We were all put here for our own unique individual purpose. And our goal should be to reach that purpose why we were put here. And so when we want to make sure that our goals are focused on that purpose. And a lot of times this goes generationally, because a lot of times what ends up happening is generationally it gets passed down, where generations are not taught to think bigger, to believe that they can achieve bigger. Right? So your purpose, your goals, your desires should really go beyond yourself. I've said it before that, you know, you really are not successful unless you've helped someone else. And so like my goals and my desires, they include, like, I want to do things. I want to change the legacy of our family. I want to change those types of things for my daughter and for my daughter's children when she has them, and for people even outside of my family. My goal is not focused just solely on myself, right? My goal, my purpose is to help other people live their fullest life. That's why I do these Woke Wednesday talks every week. That's why I do a lot of the things that I do in my life. So you want to make sure that, you know, your goals and your desires are focused on things that are not empty, not just those, you know, materialistic things again. So that's kind of it, guys. All I want to tell you to wrap this up is, you know, it's so important to live a life that is fulfilled, to live a life of purpose and on purpose. That's super important. And that's how you walk away from that feeling of feeling empty. Now, if you find yourself, for example, walking or driving into work, and you feel empty when you're driving to work. I know, look, there are times when I feel like this too. But if you find yourself feeling empty and you're like, oh my God, my soul, it's gone. If you're at work and you feel the same way, you feel empty, you're like, what am I doing here? I'm not doing anything that I love. I'm not helping anybody, whatever the case may be. This doesn't feel fulfilling to me. If you're driving home and you don't feel fulfilled, guess what? That's a sign that there's something bigger out there for you. So the question is, are you going to go get it? So that's my Woke Wednesday talk for tonight. I go on vacation tomorrow, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I hope everybody's having a great week. I do plan on being on next Wednesday and right before Thanksgiving, so that's awesome. Oh, gratitude prompt for today. Gratitude prompt for today. What is a quality about yourself that you love? What is a gratitude or a quality about yourself that you are grateful for? That's an awesome one. So share that with me if you have time. Message it to me, whatever the case may be. Put it in the comments here. But until next week, guys, dream big and live bigger. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.